In the last episode of Isla Napali, we finally hired another company to help us out in the park, and this time it was the awesome Sdan Wolf Comp, and they went on to build an awesome restaurant for our entrance area of the park, according to the feedback in the comments. And well, we're gonna have a look at this one in this episode, but now, yeah, enjoy the next episode of Isla Napali today. So, hey there everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Isla Napali. Yeah, it's one of those episodes I'm always looking forward to see it released, because I'm super happy with the outcome, and I'm thinking that the progress we made is pretty awesome, and I think also that there is a need to talk about something else in this episode. But we're gonna start first of all with some awkward stuff from Wednesday, and Wednesday I just released an episode of Planet Coaster about the 25 years Frontier special park, whatever. And the funny thing is, how do I put this in words? I didn't even want to release that one. I wasn't too satisfied with that one, but I found like, okay, this is like a perfect Wednesday episode, even though, you know, I still want to maintain a certain level of quality. But I thought, okay, let's just do a little test. And the test was basically to see how much you guys really listen to what I say. And the funny thing is that, you know, a few of you noticed it and were even very confused, which was exactly what I wanted to achieve here. But like, most of you they did really comment it, but you know, it's weird though, because I felt like, okay, this was so obvious, like this was so super obvious, but it seems that, you know, not really a lot of people either went to this point or maybe didn't understand this. But anyways, but here's me just explaining that this was completely, well, actually the situation happened the way it happened. So my wife really crashed the recording, but usually I would cut this out. Like, usually I would cut this out and just continue normally. But I thought, okay, it's, you know, it kind of is a little bit more authentic to really show that sometimes things like that happened. And I really also wanted to show you that I'm just a normal person and things happen. I'm you know, it's not that shining nice every video, the perfect commentary and stuff like that. There is so much work going into these kind of videos, and I thought, okay, it's just a little funny side note to restart one at a time, and yeah, well, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, never mind, it doesn't really matter that much. I just wanted to talk about this for those people who do know it. But now finally let's jump in to the build that I am, yeah, kind of extending here, I can say, because the restaurant was delivered by Sdan Wolf. For those of you who don't know Sdan Wolf, he is amazing. He's an amazing creator in Planet Coaster, and I feel like his biggest strengths, amongst a lot of strengths he has in the game, but one of his, if not the biggest strength he has, is definitely atmospheric builds in terms of scenery, in terms of usage of props, and, you know, making things really look welcoming. And I really wanted to have a restaurant in this area that really, it kind of hugs you, right? You come into the park and you feel like welcome, you feel hugged, you feel warm and cozy, even though you are on Hawaii and it's pretty much always warm and cozy. But you know what I mean. It really gives you a good feeling, and this build is exactly what we wanted, and it really delivers. The only thing is, and you know, that's what, it wasn't part of the contract we made. So his part was to build an amazing restaurant sitting over here, and you have seen the struggle at the beginning and then to build that in. Luckily, we were able to exchange the save files when he's done the pathwork, so at least I didn't need to do the pathwork again, and then I just copied over the blueprint. So it was a bit of a struggle, because I kept on recording in the park, and he was handed over the park to build in it, to have an idea where it sits and stuff like that. And so in between we needed to exchange files, so I could make sure that, you know, at least the pathwork and stuff and the basic stuff is done, since otherwise the struggle would have been insane to bring that in. Anyways, it was still a pain to bring it in as a blueprint, but it worked. So what we are putting our effort in today is the backstage of this area. So Sdan has delivered an awesome restaurant. He's even using the restaurant pieces, so like, or the restaurant in-game restaurant, so to say. He was not even making the whole interior, which is totally fine. We don't even need every interior in every room here, because that, you know, that's it's just nuts. But I feel like Sdan really enjoyed doing it. Like, it was crazy how quickly he put that out, and he knocked it out of the park. That was really awesome, and I really felt so happy that he enjoyed it that much, because it's, you know, you're giving away some work somehow, so people are doing it for you, for your park. So I'm enjoying that he really had a lot of fun. I don't really know if by the time he has already released the episode of him building it. If so, I'll link that in the description below. If not, I'll link his channel, because there are a lot of other great stuff, including some TMT reviews now and then. So it's really great stuff going on there. But yeah, you can see also I'm doing some more work in terms of lamps here. Well, lamp is maybe not the right term. It's a floodlight, and I wanted to do that for a while. I was even about to model this in a TMT, but I thought, okay, that might not be too clever, since I am somewhat able to do this with a small amount of pieces in-game. So like, the effort put into TMT versus what you can achieve with the in-game pieces is somewhat ridiculous, so I decided to not do it in TMT and just went on with the in-game stuff. Yeah, but you can see I also took your feedback about the kids coaster seriously, and now we are tackling an area that I think most of you striked quite a bit. So we tried in the live stream to achieve a little bit of a better blocking of this backstage area, which is important, so that not everybody can just look into it. We also made sure that these ugly oil drums were moved out of the way, so that you can still enjoy the view towards a little bit of more, like, yeah, just foliage and stuff, and you just don't lose the immersion at this point. Yeah, you kind of lose it a little bit, but not as much as you would have before. And also I was trying to get some, you know, maintenance stuff below the coaster, because many of you mentioned that we would need to have a little bit of a maintenance area, which is actually below the station. The problem here is I didn't really know that the station itself has like a concrete basement, or like a concrete flat just a few centimeters below the track, so you can't really do that below the coaster itself. So we may want to go in here in the brake run, which is a little bit tricky, so we need to move the coaster before, then we can do the terraforming and move the coaster back in. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I'll do this somewhere in the future when I'm not going to stream this, because this is still footage from the live stream on Monday, although the footage is about to end in a few seconds, and then we go on the next footage of what I've done yesterday even, actually. And I have to say, that was an awesome go for it. I really had an awesome evening. That was a great session. I got a lot of little things done. Like, really, I enjoy the struggle we have with Isla Napali. I think I mentioned this last episode already, but I really enjoy that this is meant to be hyper realistic, and so we have to go forth and back with some stuff a million times. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that, I don't know, 50% of you will be starting to moan about what I'm doing now, because I'm doing custom supporting. I still have no idea what I'm doing here, so I'm just somehow trying to make the supports look realistic. I'm somewhat trying to, I don't know, achieve a support structure that could withstand some forces, even though I'm not that great in physics or whatever, that I could say, okay, this works or this doesn't. I am also absolutely not sure how these things look. I was just browsing some kids coasters for their supports, and I was trying to achieve something that looks similar, but yeah, as I said, I'm not the biggest expert here on these things. So I decided to just go a little bit with the flow, actually, and just build it the way it looks good, and it somehow yeah, seems like it would be stable. So as you can see, I'm also putting in these like horizontal bars in between here, so that we do have a connection between those to make sure that, you know, the vibration is at least spread across all the supports there, to make sure that it's not only handled by one. I mean, still we would have the chain lift, or the push tires lift, I should say, on here, which will cause a lot of vibrations, I guess. And yeah, this needs a little bit of stronger supporting, so this is why I also put some more supports over here, just below that little left turn over here. And yeah, I know that the left turn might be a bit too tight. I'm not entirely sure though, but it still looks good to me. I mean, it could be a bit more wide, obviously, but it's not super unrealistic, so I'm not willing to remove this again, because this would need me, or just, you know, this would put me into a position that I need to redo the pathing again. And you guys know the struggle with pathing and Planet Coaster, so if there's any chance to avoid this, I would love to take that opportunity rather than going into pathwork again. Anyways, there were a few more comments last time about this junior coaster not being realistic as a transportable ride. Here's me again to explain that this coaster, as it stands in this area right now, is not a portable coaster any longer. The story behind that, and I can't remember who put that story on the table. For those of you, or for you who came up with the story, with the original story, I'm super thankful. It was a great story, but I forgot your name apparently right now. Maybe not your name, but I just forgot who that was. Anyways, the one who suggested this coaster was actually in the path a temporary coaster, but not in the layout it is currently. So the idea was that the you know, the traveling coaster was dismantled or disabled or whatever, and the kind of parts that you still could use from this coaster were refurbished and used within this coaster over here. That means some new parts have been added to make the new layout, which then is a permanent layout. So the coaster originally was a traveling coaster, which had a different layout, but some of the layout parts, so for example, a lift hill, let's put it that way. I don't know if that would be working, but for example, the lift hill and a helix and maybe one straight section with an up and down, like this little bunny hop over here, they could be taken one by one from the old layout, but the rest has been filled in with some other stuff. And I believe I will also change the color of those track pieces so that you can see there is a connection and these are not originally the same pieces. So this is what I forgot actually in this episode. I really wanted to do so, but I completely forgot about this. Yeah, so now we are not at the end of this episode, but we're going slowly towards the end, because that's the last song starting right now. So it's me again asking for some feedback, especially now for the next couple of episodes. So I can already promise you the next episode, or maybe two-ish episode, and including Monday's stream, will potentially be about the go-karts. We are going to finally finish the go-karts. But then there's me asking what we should do next. So I have two suggestions, and the rest will be open for your feedback. My first suggestion is that we're gonna have a live stream on YouTube. If I can, I don't know when I will be able to do this, but I'm gonna have a live stream where we make a park tour, and you guys can suggest live some feedback about every area we have in this park right now, because I feel like before we move on in the next bigger part of this thing, I am really willing to fix all the issues we still have, because there's quite a bit of stuff left we haven't done yet. So that's the first thing. The second thing is energy supply. I really want to make one entire live episode, so to say, like me playing the game actually and not sped up, discussing with you where the energy and water and stuff goes, so just as a planning episode. These two things I think are mandatory, but I don't know if they make sense next. But now it's here for you. What do you want to see next? Like, now you can be super open, because as I said, these first two things are mandatory. I'll do them, but you know, this is not upon request or whatever. This has to be done, full stop. But what do you want to see? Do we want to see another flat ride? Do you want to see a custom flat ride? So like something not usable, but we don't have in the game yet, and me attempting this? Or do you want to see the hotel next? Could be also a thing. Do you want to to see the second harbor next? Do you want to see the whole Backstage area, which will be next to the new harbor? Do you want to see like the houses of the employees working in the park, because we still haven't done them? Or do you want to see maybe a new coaster, which could be a vintage wooden coaster, for example, but maybe I'm gonna hire someone for this. But you know, many possibilities, and I really want to know in the comments down below, what do you want to see next as a bigger step in Isla Napali? So that's all I can say. Now enjoy the rest of your day, and we're gonna see each other in the next episode. Until then, have a great one, and bye bye.
We should be hiding out wherever we may find